Hi, I'm Natalie,
I'm Candice.
And I'm Danny.
and we are following Soulspiration. In today's episode, we talk about what it means to share our true selves with the world and what exists in our reality that holds us back. We share how a healing song changed this perspective for all of us and inspired us to live our lives boldly and more authentically. Enjoy.
Hi, ladies. How are we doing this morning?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good.
Awesome. Love that energy.
Natalie, do you have a card for us?
I do today. We have a card which is Shining Bright.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says, I trust the fire of passion that burns in my heart, that deeply felt instinct about what I want to do next on my path. I shine in my glory and greatness and revel in my creative power. I am filled with gratitude for my life. My strength, beauty, and power shine through, even when I'm met with criticism or resistance. Nothing can really slow me down when I am following myself and my own inner light. I celebrate the light of others shine forth too, as we are all divine beings with so much creative power that we long to express, share, and enjoy.
Well, that couldn't be any more on point with the topic.
I know. I got it. I was like, oh, of course.
People are going to stop believing that you're actually pulling them.
I know. Maybe I should just stop. They're going to be like, fraud. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy because today we're talking about being us or you. So being who you are as, individuals, and what stops us and what holds us back from expressing our true selves. So this week, I heard a song. Well, actually, I was going to say for the first time, but it wasn't for the first time. A few weeks ago, a friend sent me a song, and I listened to it, and it was just beautiful. And then I went on with my day and didn't think any more about it. And then 3 weeks later, I heard it again, and it literally hit me right in the heart. So I felt so much transformation just from listening to this one song that I instantly shared it with the girls, and I let them share what came up for them, if anything, when they heard the song. But really it was to do with the main reason why it was so impactful for me was because when we started this 3 weeks ago, I started a project, and then it finished as I heard the song again, and I hadn't realized that it was the same song that I'd heard all this time ago at the beginning of this project. And all of the words in the song really speak to what we dealt with as we worked through this project, which was to do with like fear of being seen, not expressing our truth, all of those things. And so when I heard this song, it was just like the perfect ending to this project, where I was like, this is healed. I worked through all this stuff, and now this is healed just from the words in this song. So the song, if you don't, hopefully you know it, but if you haven't, I suggest you go and YouTube it right now, which is This Is Me. We might even be able to get it somehow linked in this video, but I'll let Candice work that one out.
We'll figure it out.
The song is called This Is Me by Kiala Settle, and it's from the Greatest Showman movie. And really, it's all just about her owning her power, her not being willing to be quashed by anybody or anything, and really just stepping into her own self and truth and power. So Candice, do you want to share what you felt when you first heard the song?
Yes. So you shared the link to that video, and I sat and listened to it on repeat, watching the same video over and over again for 2 hours, crying my eyes out. Over and over again, tears streaming down my cheeks, just feeling the words of that song at like the deepest levels of my heart. It talks about I won't accept, I think that the word she uses is like, I'm being shot with bullets, and it has to do with like shame. And she says, I'm not going to accept it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that we are taught to be ashamed of who we are, be ashamed of who what of our scars, and, you know, that she's just not going to do it anymore. And so the video that you had sent specifically had an interview with her at the beginning, and the song was actually them performing it for the first time in trying to get the movie deal. So it was I think that was a big part. I mean, the song is beautiful and the lyrics are beautiful and they still would have had an impact, but seeing it in that version was watching her really integrate, really feel what she was singing for herself in that moment. Yeah. So it's like she stepped out and took her power and was like, I am not going to be afraid or ashamed or hide myself anymore, was, you know, my take on it. And it was so impactful for me because, like, that's what we do. We grow up in this world that tells us we need to look a certain way, we need to act a certain way, we need to be a certain way, we need to do certain things. And when you don't fit those perfect ideals, like, I mean, I'm using general terms, but like, people turn their nose up at you. People judge you. People don't accept you for who you are. And in the film, she was the bearded lady, and she was overweight, and I could just, not that I have a beard, but I could see myself in her feeling like odd man out. When I walk into the room, I don't feel like, I don't automatically feel like I have a place there. I don't automatically feel accepted. I don't automatically feel love. There might be 99 people in that room that are loving and accepting and, you know, with open arms. And I will find the energy of the one person who is saying, really, you're wearing that? You know, and it doesn't even have to be words out loud, but just, so that's what my perspective has been, was to find that one person. And so when she was saying that, and she was saying or singing, basically, I won't accept that anymore. I will not be ashamed anymore because you tell me to. I was like, mind blown. And it was the power of the live version of that song and seeing her transformation in that moment.
Absolutely. And I think that version actually has a guy called Ben Thompson who sings the line that you're talking about, which I think, like, that line hits me so hard every single time with the another round of bullets hits my skin, so fire away, because I won't let that shame sink in. And it's like it's like so empowering, like, literally hit me with what you've got, because it isn't going to touch me. And I just love that, like, mindset where, you know, we're so sensitive to other people's opinions and other people's words. And, you know, and it also, to me, like, it kind of was on a level, not even just other people's words, it's also like my own words, because it's like, there's a bit, I wrote it down because I was wanting to say, when the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm going to send a flood, I'm going to drown them out. And I'm just like, that's my freaking head. That's my head giving me my sharp words. You can't do this. You aren't worth that. And every time you try, ego, brain, whatever mind, try to say that to me, I'm just going to send a flood of love right back at you, and it ain't going to touch me. But so it's like really kind of empowering like that. But yeah, Danny, what did you think when you heard it? What came up?
Well, to hear Candace say that she, like, listened to it and cried for 2 hours, like, I'm usually like the crybaby of the group, but I did listen to it twice and bawled all the way through. But it's very much the same thing that you guys are talking about, and I related to her extra because I am overweight and things like that, and I just have these things. And like you were saying, Natalie, though, it's all in my own mind. Like, not living in Kansas where it's regularly, you know, 95 degrees and humid, and I will not wear tank tops because I don't like the way my arms look, and I will not wear shorts because I don't like the way my legs look. that song really spoke to me, and how they said you were saying that video is particularly powerful, and she's saying when she came out from behind and stood in front, it was really the first time she did it. And I just thought, cry baby. I just thought, I want to own my space, own my body, own that, like coming out from behind and standing there regardless. And it isn't even the other people, because they don't really give a shit if I have dimples and fat on my arm or if I have it hanging down. They don't care. It's all me telling myself what they think or what they don't think or what. It's all irrelevant. It's all just me in my own head shaming myself. I don't even need them to do that. And it was, very profound song. And I've heard it before, like we say so often, it's like these messages can come in 100 times. But when it hits you, when it has when it's the right time and it has that particular tone and that particular relatability, like with the video and the backstory and everything and that personal side of it, it really, really hit home and just made me see myself in her and in everybody in that room who was just like going for something they believed in and doing something they believed in. And after that, I did watch several other videos that were like of the making of the movie and interviews with Hugh and different songs in the movie. And they were all like that. I mean, they all just made you want to just stand up and sing and find something you really believe in and follow that dream. I mean, it sounds so cliche, but I mean, that is like just how I felt. And it just inspired me to really, to a new level of just standing in my physical body, and being present and being proud and being, it is what it is, and letting so much of that go. But I thought if she can do it with a beard, I can do it with just being
that. Absolutely. I think it's like as well, so one of the things I was asked recently what I wanted most for my kids, like what do you hope for most out of your kids, and the like number one thing for me is that they stay true to who they are, that they are full of self-worth and confidence, that they can just be them without feeling the need to conform to any other way of being. And so the song's all about that. And a wonderful friend shared a video by Wayne Dyer with me yesterday, and it had in it saying, it was like 5 tips to live a best life or something, and it was like one of the things was don't die with your music still in you. And he even said, like, he quoted this very important person, and it said that we all hear a different drummer and we march to the music we hear. And that's exactly what it says in the song as well, because it's like, taxi, here I come marching onto the beat I drum. And I'm just like, yes, because how boring that would be if we all drummed the same freaking beat and went along the street. Like, it reminds me of a wonderful book, if you haven't read it, it's actually a kid's book called Odd Dog Out, which I think Candice, you bought for someone too, but it's just the most beautiful book, where it's about this dog who doesn't fit in where they are. She's surrounded by all the same kind of dogs, and then so she goes off to find her place in the world, and finds it and realizes like how dull it is, and that she wants to stand tall and be true and just be her. And she comes back and they all welcome her because they were like, oh, we realized how boring life was because we were all the same. And then they're all kind of starting to have their own quirks and things, and it's just the most beautiful book for everyone, like kids or adults, like but I just think it's so important. And I think there's so much in your heart, I think what you want to do or how you want to live, but there's so much in life that kind of tells you how you should be and what you should be doing, and whether that's doing the job thing and 9 to 5 and all of that stuff, or starting something that really speaks to your soul. So many people just keep trundling along without even an awareness that they're kind of like diminishing their soul, like. And so I just love that. I think it's really, really an important thing, and it's something I want my kids to do. And I think that if I want my kids to do it, I have to do that myself. Like, how can I help my kids have that sense of self-worth while I'm keeping myself small? And it's, you know, her whole energy is about like not allowing yourself to be defined by other people or even your past. So like all of the scars that you hold, you know, she's like, oh, that, you know, people think that they don't want to see me in my mess, but there's nothing stronger than just speaking your truth, as we saw with her. Like literally her just coming out, and, you know, I know that it's a song, so like but I think it really did embody her in the moment, where coming out and saying that inspired all of us. So if we all did that, what if we all did that? Like, how much more inspired and fulfilled would we be? I don't know.
I think that it would be so amazing that I couldn't even imagine it. You know, can you imagine a world where people were just themselves? There was no pressure, there was no shame, there was no guilt. Like, you just got to be. That's like the utopia that I dream about. the commune that I want to create, where everybody's just living peacefully together and there's nothing but love.
I know, but we've been getting like so many messages, because you got those emails, Danny, like last week about like on the same day, everything was telling you just be you. So I feel like it's definitely something right now that's trying to tell us all, the signs from the universe.
It's time. Utopia is coming.
Well, utopia is wherever we are. There's that old, that wise old saying, Sufi or Rumi or like one of the ancient mystics says, you know, when I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. And then I got a little older and I wanted to change my community. And now that I'm older and wiser, I want to change myself. I seek to change myself. And we know that by the transformation that happens within us, that it impacts the entire world, and that also we're all one. We're all, you know, waves on the same ocean. So whenever we are lifted up, it automatically, you know, raises all the others. And I think that's, no, never mind. I was going to go down a total rabbit trail there. I'm just going to stop myself right now. This is really beautiful.
I think the other thing is, I was trying to think, like, so where am I not doing that? So where am I every day not being true? Where am I shrinking myself? And then I realized in that very moment that it's with the podcast, in the sense that I was hiding it. So, you know, the next day someone was asking about podcasts, and so I went and dropped the link, which was such a big deal, because I've not wanted, you know, we were doing this, I know it's felt good, but I haven't wanted to put myself out there. So it kind of inspired me to take some action. So,
I'll add to that also that I think for you and me both, Natalie, that the transformation that came from that song, it was like the universe was there to be like, you sure you got this? Because fast forward less than a week and you and I are leading episodes, which we have successfully tried to hide in the background and let Danny lead each episode.
Yeah. Exactly.
So another area where
look at us go. Whoop, whoop. You'll have to bear with us, listeners, in this transition. I know we're not quite as good, but we'll get there.
It is all working so perfectly.
Thank you. Is there anything else anyone would like to add about being true? Is there anywhere else in your life that you don't feel that you are, that you now have felt more inspired, or after this podcast more inspired?
I think for me, I definitely am. I know that I went out and bought a couple of tank tops.
Did you? Ooh.
Yeah, summer's coming early to Kansas. It's really, really warm, and they feel so good. They feel so good, you guys. I haven't worn tank tops in so long.
Yay.
They feel amazing and so free. And so when I start the talk, I just, you know, shut it down a lot easier and a lot quicker, and just it's been a wonderful, wonderful reminder to me. And the fact that it inspired me to want that and to pay attention to that, And by that, I mean, standing in my physical body and being present in my physical body, because that is one area where I shrink and I hide, and I, stopped going out to meet with friends sometimes, or go to different meetup groups or different things, that I would enjoy doing because I just feeling self-conscious or whatever. Certainly, any of the singles groups or anything like that. But because there's an extra kind of layer of judgment maybe or whatever from the the external. But I know for me, so I bought tank tops. I'm being very much more aware of standing physically in my body and being present with the energy that I'm bringing with that. And those are pretty huge. I mean, those are a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I mean, the small things sound so little because, it's just like, oh, I bought some tank tops. And to some people, that's nothing. But it's huge. And just like me posting the podcast, I mean, you'd think you're spending all your time recording these things, getting them transcribed. You'd think you'd want to actually do something with it. But, it's a big deal just dropping that link. Like, I actually almost hyperventilated. So, give yourself credit. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, it is. And I think that is realistically, that's how transformation happens is, we get a new understanding and then little things change and then they accumulate and then they keep going. And before you know it, you look back and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Look where I used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not there anymore.
For sure. I've been playing that song in the car every time I leave the house and replaying the lyrics in my head, whether I'm at home or I'm out. The inner critic in me is very loud. And so as soon as that starts, or even if it's not the inner critic, but it's the fear, if I do this, will I fail? Will people judge me? Will, the world come to an end? And just repeating in my head the lyrics. So I use the I'm going to flood them out lyrics. Mm-hmm. And I also use the I'm not going to let the shame sink in lyrics, depending on the situation. But I've just been repeat in my head. And it honestly helps me to take my power back in that moment, because I'm so wrapped up worrying about, essentially what it boils down to is that I'm worried about what other people are going to think. That is like ultimately what the root of it is. And it really is disempowering when you live your life that way. And so it's really helping me to pull my power back and feel strong enough to not necessarily face that, because it's not really facing it. It's just like, I don't choose that anymore. I don't accept that anymore. So it's been huge for me, huge. And I can only see it continuing to help me grow and propel me forward, because there's a lot of things that I want to do. And playing small won't get me there.
Yes. Love it. Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that song in the first place. And thank you for today's episode. Yeah. All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.